Y'all, the drama between Teyana Taylor and Iman Shumpert just keeps getting messier by the day. What started as one of Hollywood's favorite love stories has now turned into a full-blown public battle, with accusations, money fights, and even emotional scars that neither of them seem ready to let go of. So, how did it get this bad? Let's rewind a little. Teyana Taylor and Iman Shumpert were once seen as that perfect couple, young, stylish, and madly in love. They had that black love goals energy that fans couldn't get enough of. But somewhere behind those Instagram-perfect photos and music videos, things were falling apart. Last year, Teyana quietly filed for divorce. At first, she tried to keep everything private. She didn't want the world in her business, especially not when kids were involved. She even made a post saying the divorce wasn't messy, that there was no cheating, no drama, and that she and Iman were still cool. But baby, those court papers told a whole different story. According to the legal documents, Teyana accused Iman of being jealous of her fame and success. Now, that's wild when you think about it because Iman used to be an NBA player. He made millions from basketball, but apparently, it wasn't about money. It was about ego. Teyana claimed that whenever they went out to public events, photographers would sometimes ask Iman to step aside so they could take solo pictures of her. Instead of cheering her on, Iman would allegedly get irritated, like he couldn't handle his wife being the star. The documents even mentioned that Iman's attitude got worse over time, that he'd become emotionally cruel and displayed narcissistic behavior. Teyana said she tried hard to make the marriage work. She adjusted her life, canceled jobs, and even turned down movie and recording opportunities just to keep him happy. She wanted to be a good wife, but nothing she did seemed to be enough. It got so bad that she started thinking about giving up her career altogether, just to focus on being a full-time wife and mom. But even then, Iman reportedly complained that she wasn't making enough money. Like, how do you get mad at your wife for not working after asking her to stay home? That's the level of toxicity Teyana said she was dealing with. When the tension became too much, Teyana decided to take a break from Iman. But when they tried to reconcile, things didn't improve. In fact, she said his behavior got even worse as his NBA career began to slow down. Without the fame and attention he once had from basketball, Iman allegedly became more insecure, and that insecurity started to spill into their marriage. By the time Teyana filed for divorce in November, things had already been bad for a long time. But here's where it gets even more twisted. When the court got involved, Iman reportedly tried to spin the story to make himself look better. He wanted to change the official reason for their divorce. Instead of it being listed as cruel treatment, he asked to change it to irretrievable broken bonds. Now, in legal terms, that's a big deal. Cruel treatment means one spouse has been emotionally or physically abusive to the point that it's unsafe or unbearable to live together. Irretrievable broken bonds just means the marriage ended naturally. No one's to blame. So basically, Iman wanted the court to make it look like the breakup wasn't his fault. But that wasn't all. He also demanded that Teyana pay him spousal support because, according to him, she earns more money now than he does. He claimed his income before taxes was around $47,000 a month, while Teyana was making between $93,000 and $100,000 monthly. Here's where people started losing it. Iman said that he's been paying Teyana $8,800 a month for the care of their two daughters, Junie and Rue. And because of the income gap, he wanted her to pay him instead. Teyana, of course, was not having it. She fired back, saying not only was she not paying him anything, but that Iman had actually stolen from her during their marriage. According to her, he took over $4 million out of their joint account without her permission. And to make things worse, she claimed he left her with $200,000 worth of unfinished home renovations, projects he started but never completed. And then came the DUI scandal. Teyana allegedly exposed that Iman had been arrested in 2022 for driving under the influence and crashing her Rolls-Royce before fleeing the scene. She reportedly used this as evidence of his reckless behavior and poor judgment. After months of court battles, the divorce was finalized. And let's just say, the judge didn't buy Iman's story. The court ruled that Iman had to pay Teyana a one-time seven-figure settlement. That's millions, y'all. and she got to keep 4 of their marital properties worth around $10 million total. Iman got to keep a condo in Miami and a few smaller properties in Georgia and DeKalb, but he also has to pay $8,000 every month in child support. Teyana, on the other hand, doesn't have to pay him a single cent in spousal support. In fact, she kept full ownership of her companies, TaylorMade and Andy's, as well as her cars and jewelry. So yeah, Iman took a major loss financially and emotionally. And if you thought he was going to take that quietly, think again. Not long after the court's decision, Iman appeared in a comedy skit with popular comedian Rico Oh No Funny. In the skit, he threw shade at Teyana, joking that he'd been miserable ever since he picked the wrong baby mama. He said, "Pick your baby mama wisely, 'cause my homie ain't smiled in 10 years. Of course, that comment set social media on fire. Fans immediately called him out for being bitter and petty. One person commented, "He ain't smiling because he knows he fumbled. Regret sucks the joy out of anything." Another said, "Mind you, Teyana hasn't said a word, hasn't dropped a video, hasn't even made a shady caption, and yet, she's the bad guy?" And honestly, they have a point. While Iman has been out here throwing shade, Teyana has mostly stayed quiet, focusing on her kids and career. She's been moving with grace, even though the whole world knows how messy things have gotten. After the divorce ruling hit the headlines, you'd think Iman Shumpert would have taken some time to heal, regroup, and maybe just move on quietly. But nope, that's not how this story goes. What followed was a wave of petty behavior, online shade, and emotional chaos that had fans questioning what really went wrong behind closed doors. See, when a man loses not just his marriage, but also his public image, it can hit his pride hard, and Iman's pride has always been front and center. Sources close to the couple say that Iman felt humiliated by how the divorce played out, especially since he once painted himself as the doting husband and cool dad. Now, the same fans who once admired him were calling him controlling, jealous, and broke. Instead of staying quiet, Iman started making slick comments online and through comedy skits. He'd post cryptic captions about loyalty, betrayal, and fake love. It was obvious who he was referring to, even if he never mentioned Teyana's name directly. People started to see the pattern. Every time Teyana made a positive move in her career, Iman would pop up with some kind of emotional post, as if he couldn't stand seeing her win without him. For instance, when Teyana was spotted attending a big Hollywood event with actor Aaron Pierre, rumors started flying that she'd officially moved on. Photos showed her glowing, confident, unbothered, and surrounded by friends. And just days later, Iman posted a story saying, "Some folks heal fast when they were never hurt in the first place." Fans immediately caught on. That was shade aimed straight at Teyana. But here's the thing, while Iman was out here being messy, Teyana stayed focused. She didn't reply, didn't post subliminals, didn't clap back. Instead, she poured her energy into her music, her kids, and her creative projects. Behind the scenes, friends say she's been working on expanding her fashion line and even writing new music about resilience and freedom. She's been seen on set, rehearsing, smiling, and doing what she does best, turning pain into art. Still, Iman's behavior kept getting stranger. Not long after the skit that went viral, he reportedly started complaining about how unfair the divorce settlement was. He told friends that Teyana had ruined his reputation and that the courts had stripped him of everything he worked for. But what most people pointed out was that Iman's downfall didn't come from Teyana, it came from his own actions. Remember, this is the same man who, according to reports, withdrew millions from their shared account and left her with incomplete renovations. Fans argued that karma simply came back around. But Iman seemed to believe he was the victim of some kind of public smear campaign. One of his now-deleted tweets read, "Funny how they call you a narcissist when you stop giving people your energy." Another said, "They love you when you're broke and humble, but once you build something of your own, they call it ego." It didn't help that Iman's music career hasn't exactly taken off since the split. While Teyana continues to get brand deals